Hello everyone, Makima here. We are back after months of waiting for the Royal Guard rework. Everyone looks so happy now while riding their chickens. Well, to start with, there are two builds for Royal Guard, the Defender and the Warrior. In this video we will have an overlook on the skill sets, talents and gear recommendations for the Warrior Royal Guard. This is what the Warrior Royal Guard skill tree looks like. But before going into its third job skills, we will first revisit the first and second job skill sets. For the Swordsman skill tree, you can ignore the Sword Mastery because Royal Guard uses Spear and Shield. I will just highlight in here that we can learn Magnum Break level 1 because it can boost our damage if we are using fire converters. I will just hover on these skill descriptions so you can have a look. For its second job skill tree, this is how it looks like. This one is a prerequisite skill. Level 3 is enough. You can max the Spear Mastery to level 10 by allocating skill points from your Bash or Fatal Strike and Battle Chant. The Trans second job skill tree looks like this. Level 1 Battle Chant is good enough. You can use the skill points to the more important skills. Now let's check the reworked Royal Guard skill tree. First on the list is the Oath of Piety. In order to enable the rest of the other skills, the Royal Guard must first learn this skill. Let's just have a quick look on the skill descriptions of the skills exclusive for the Defender Royal Guard. One of the basic skills of the Warrior Royal Guard is the Warrior Stance. It enables the Royal Guard to generate Warrior Resolve when dealing damage. This one is the gauge for Warrior Resolve. If this bar reaches 100, Warrior Guard gains many benefits. Warrior Royal Guard can generate Warrior Resolve very fast, especially with the effect of the Ymir's Tear Tier 1. The Ymir's Tear Tier 2 also gives us 40% physical attack if our Warrior Resolve reaches 50 points. The Ymir's Tear Tier 5 gives us 0.4% movement speed for each 1 point of Warrior Resolve, or a total of 40% movement speed at 100 points of Warrior Resolve. The warrior stance also gives us 1 crit rate for each 1 point of warrior resolve. This means plus 100 crit rate if our warrior resolve reaches 100 points. Back to the warrior stance skill, another one of its effects is that it gives us 0.5% physical attack for each 10,000 points of HP. However, we need to have 3 million HP to fully benefit from that physical attack buff. This skill also causes some of our skills to consume HP instead of SB whenever we cast them. This skill also makes our main hand weapon indestructible, and whenever we attack, we can trigger the Warrior Zeal buff. Warrior Zeal increases our physical damage by 35%, and every time we do normal attacks we deal additional bonus damage equal to 1400 of our attack. Golden Vow is another passive skill that gives us the Gutsy buff whenever our current HP increases or decreases. The Gutsy buff gives us 20% physical attack, 100 points of luck, and a 5% HP shield. The Golden Vow also gives the Royal Blessing buff whenever our HP drops below 10%. The Royal Blessing heals us back to 50% HP and gives us 5 seconds invincibility. However, take note that the Royal Blessing will not trigger if the enemy nuke us down to 0% HP in an instant, like if Shuri uses Gate of Hell on us. Golden Vow further improves our Crushing Roar. Whenever we cast Crushing Roar, we gain the Spirit Guard buff. The Spirit Guard buff converts 100% of our physical damage reduction into 100% physical damage bonus. It also gives us crowd control immunity, but consumes 5% of our HP and SB every second. The Spirit Guard lasts for 10 seconds. My physical damage increased by 100%, while my physical damage reduction decreased by the same amount. If our target have the Overbrand debuff, their damage reduction will be reduced by 40% every time they take damage from us. Also, if we are wearing the Halberd of Repentance, we can auto-cast the Overbrand by doing normal attacks. Crescent Slasher is our main damage skill. We can cast it on enemies, or we can trigger it by doing normal attacks. We can also auto-cast it if we are wearing the Sacrificio Sigil. Also, if we are attacking target marked with Overbrand, our Crescent Slasher will proc another skill called Blood Slasher that deals 600% AoE damage. Let me show you how it works. With this information, we can therefore conclude that it is ideal to have the overbrand debuff on target all the time. However, as you can see in here, we cannot have the overbrand debuff on target all the time. This is because the auto-trigger overbrand from our weapon have a cooldown time of 8 seconds, and the overbrand duration is only 5 seconds. We can consider putting the active overbrand in auto skill slot so we can auto-cast it whenever it is available. This way, we can keep it up at 100%. The next skill that I will be showing is the Cannon Puncture. It is the Warrior Royal Guard's gap closing skill. I found 2 uses for this skill. First, as a gap closer to reach the enemy quicker and stun them. The second one is for survival. The Ymir's Tear Tier 4 enables our Cannon Puncture to give us the Death Edge buff that will take effect after we cast it. The Death Edge buff reduces our healing taken effect by 80%. However, it prevents our HP from going down below 5%. In short, it's a 3-second invincibility. So, depending on the situation, I suggest you use the Cannon Puncture wisely. Another movement skill of the Warrior Royal Guard is the Quick Slide. If you assign it at level 3, Quick Slide will have 8 seconds cooldown. Shield of God is a support skill. If you activate it, you will gain 20% damage reduction, and a chance to generate a 5% HP shield every time you take damage. One of our Nexus talent, the Divine Shield Bliss, improves our Shield of God. Every time our Shield of God generates the 5% HP shield, we gain an additional 15% damage bonus and 15% damage reduction. This next skill is our burst skill, the Divine Majesty. It requires 100 points of warrior resolve for casting. One of our Nexus talents, the Red Eye, increases the damage of our Divine Majesty, and it can inflict airborne to our targets. Our Ymir's Tear Tier 3 also improves our Divine Majesty by giving us more physical damage and critical damage for a short period. As you can see in here, the casting range of the Divine Majesty is quite long. We can either use this to reach the enemy, or we can use it for escaping. After casting Divine Majesty, we gain an improved Warrior Zeal that gives 60% physical damage and 2,400% damage bonus. Casting Divine Majesty have a negative effect too. It forces our HP to 50% after casting. However, We can also abuse this 50% HP lock too. When our HP is below 50%, we can cast Divine Majesty and our HP will went back to 50%. Let me show you. My HP here is almost 0. Watch it as it increases back to 50% after I cast Divine Majesty. That's it for the Warrior Royal Guard skill sets. I hope I was able to explain all the essential things that you need to know. Now let's have a quick look at the Warrior Royal Guard Ymir's Tear. As you can see, its basic stats are physical attack, melee damage, crit and crit rate. It's the ideal stats for doing damage. Tier 1 increases the acquisition rate of Warrior Resolve. Tier 2 gives us more physical attack. Tier 3 improves our Divine Majesty by giving us more physical damage and crit damage buff. The duration of the buff depends on how many target we hit when we cast the Divine Majesty. Tier 4 restore 10% of our HP after we kill a target. It also boosts the Cannon Puncture by giving us the Death Edge buff after we cast Cannon Puncture. Tier 5 increases our movement speed by 0.4% for each Warrior Resolve we have, or 40% movement speed at maximum. It also boosts our healing taken. Now let's revisit the Warrior Royal Guard Nexus talents. It says here that Battle Frenzy boosts our normal attack and Crescent Slasher damage by 100%. However, in actual scenario, the damage increase of the Crescent Slasher is just small, not even doubled. Divine Shield Bliss physical damage bonus and reduction will take effect only when the 5% HP Shield of God is triggered. No HP shield, no bonus. Red Eye boosts our Divine Majesty initial damage and inflicts airborne on targets. Survival works on both Defender and Warrior Royal Guard. For Warrior, it enables us to recover HP to 50% whenever our HP drops below 40%. Let me show you how it works. I believe we have fully discussed the skill sets, talents, and stargazing effects of the Warrior Royal Guard up to this point. Let's get a recap of the stat bonuses that these skills and talents give. This is presented in a spreadsheet format. You can just have a glance on it. This row are the affected stats. This column are the skills and talents. You may pause the video if you need to. This time I will be sharing with you my recommended enchantments on certain gears. Take note that these recommendations are based on my experience as a free-to-play player and is no way the standard thing to follow. Depending on your investment on this game, your ideal gear recommendations might be different than mine. This is also presented in a spreadsheet format. You may pause the video as needed. I made one for PvE scenario and the other for PvP. This time I will be showing you the recommended divine traits on gears that you may look for. Since there is no preset for divine traits, you may use this build both in PvE and PvP scenarios. For the Divine Bliss stats on your accessories, try to get the level 5 stats. If unlucky, try to get the level 4 Battle Rage or Deadly. This time I will be sharing with you my recommended cards for PvE and PvP scenarios. Just like the enchantments and traits, your card choices also depends on your build and pocket, so this recommendations may work on some and not on others. For our weapon, we will be using the Halberd of Repentance because it greatly improves our main skills such as the Crescent Slasher and the Overbrand. I'm using the Naga Scale Shield in PvP because it boosts our Reflect Shield damage. For PvE, you may consider using the Holy Guard since it gives lots of HP. For the armor set, use Rangrith of Fortitude for PvP scenarios because it gives lots of damage reductions. For the accessories, it is ideal to get the Season 2 accessory set. This will give us access to Silver Glory effect that can boost lots of physical damage. For the costume sets, I usually do not recommend what to wear, because the game releases new power creep costumes as fast as your girlfriend changes her clothes. But this Colors of Fall is worthy of mention because it is a free-to-play costume that gives critical damage and physical damage. These stats are usually what you should look for. Also, watch out for costumes that give size and race modifiers. They are also good to use depending on your build. For the Nightingale Echo, you can use Tyr's Pillar and look for Cyclone Wrath set because it enables you to trigger the offensive buff that will give a huge boost in size damage. For the Virus Core, luckily, there is really no skills in here that is a must-have to get. You may use anything here that can boost damage: Big Bully, Final Piety, Holy Light Shield, Bloodthirst, Mana Length Reversal. Avoid using this muscle block because our HP usually hovers at around 50% to 70%. This means we cannot benefit much from muscle blocks' effect. These are the sigils that I used in PvP scenarios. For PvE, you can use the offense-oriented sigils, such as the Choice of Fate or Soul Mark. Now, after considering all the information about the Warrior Royal Guard, I will be sharing with you on how I play this class. Since our damage mostly came from the Warrior Zeal and the auto-trigger of Crescent Slasher, we will simply do normal attacks and we will be good. I usually put these skills on my first manual skills slot. For the second manual skills slot, I have these skills ready. For the auto skill slot, I have these. I am initially using the fire converters in combination with the Magnum Break fire damage buff, and switch converters accordingly if I am facing other elements. I am also using this yellow battle chant for added buffs. Use slide to close the gap. Since we put normal attack on auto skill slot, our character will take care of itself. Depending on the situation, we can use cannon puncture accordingly. Quick slide again to engage or to escape. If you felt you are lacking in damage, use crushing roar. Also, keep the divine majesty available. Consider using it to fight or to flight. Activate shield reflect if you are facing another melee classes. Use defending aura if you are getting hurt by range classes such as genetics. Well, I think that's it for now. In case I missed something, or if you have questions, just ask in the comment section. I hope this video can help you in building your warrior royal guard. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.